This battle is brought to you by our channel members and FLGS partners, Warpfire Minis and X-Planet.
Hello and welcome to Season of War and our second game of Warhammer 40,000. We're excited to be back in the universe of the far future playing another game. This should, again, be our second battle report for 40K, but we're excited for a couple reasons. We're stepping up to 15,000, so 1,500 points.
Yeah, apocalypse.
Yeah, not quite yet. 1,500 points because I got 500 more points of Tau painted, so excited for that and to step up a little bit. Playing on the full board size. We should have been last time, but
Yep.
learning, mistakes happen. That's part of the game, part of learning. But the biggest reason I think we're excited for tonight is we're showing off the new Space Marines Codex. New Codex, obviously, the kind of flagship army of 40K. So, Ryan, you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. There is so much in this book to love, and we're about to see some of it.
Nice. Well, I'm excited. Your army looks beautiful, so that's always like the first thing. When you have beautiful army, beautiful terrain, it's always a fun time. But before we dive into our armies, let's find out what mission we're playing.
Today's battle will take place using the Sweeping Engagements deployment. The primary mission is Scorched Earth, which will see our players score 5 victory points for each objective they control. Players will also have the opportunity to burn objectives, scoring 5 points if they burn 1 or more neutral objectives, and 10 points for their opponent's home objective. The mission rule will be Chilling Rain, which actually means there will be no additional mission rule in effect. Now let's get back to the table.
All right, Ryan, so we know what we're playing today, and why don't you take us through your Space Marines list first?
Sure, awesome. So it is Space Wolves, as it looks like. I am Space Wolves, but using one of the new detachments, which was actually a really hard choice, because there's actually about 4 detachments could work for my Space Wolves army, which is awesome in itself.
Yes.
But I wanted to get the Dreadnoughts on the board. They're really good right now, and I painted up last edition, and they've seen maybe 2 games, so it's like opportunity to get the Dreadnoughts on the board. So I went with the new Ironstorm Spearhead, which is the Dreadnought themed one. Well, not really Dreadnought, tanks in general themed. But it's fantastic. The benefit my army gets from getting that detachment is the whole army gets to reroll hit, wound, or damage roll every phase, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Notable though, if you don't know, Oath of the Moment got nerfed. It's only reroll hits now, not reroll hits and wounds. Kind of fair. I'm okay with that. It was too powerful. But getting into the army itself, like I said, it's Space Wolves, so I started things out with a couple units of Fenrisian Wolves. I don't know how great they are in the Tau matchup. We'll see. They're mainly here to stand in the way of things like World Eaters, but they'll run around and maybe score secondaries for me.
Take some shooting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shooting the wolves, it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
So next, I picked up the 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I've got 2 with Plasma, 1 with the Gatling. They're basically what you see is what you get. Pretty much that's it for them. I've got a unit of aggressors. They're standing right here. They're actually
deep striking. They're deep striking.
In fact, I'll pull them off right now.
Yeah.
So Flamestorm aggressors. If you look very closely at my Space Wolf models, they're a Fire Howlers themed list, so I have to have my Flamer guys to keep with the theme. And I know before you say that Fire Howlers like jump troops, and I don't have many of those, but they just came out, like, not yet.
Yeah, well, we literally had the new models arrive this morning, so didn't have time to get them ready for today's game. So
no jump troops for me yet.
But they'll be coming.
And notably, the whole army is Primaris, is why there's no Thunderwolf Cavalry or anything like that. I have a unit of Eliminators. They're armed with the Bolt Sniper Rifles. Fantastic unit still. Love them. A unit of Outriders just for some mobility, scoring, that sort of thing. I have 2 units of Incursors, which are fantastic now. I love them so much. And then I have a Librarian in here, Phobos Librarian. And then he has the enhancement. It's one of the new enhancements, and it gives him an aura that gives all my vehicles within 6 inches of him advance and shoot. So these are the most mobile Redemptors in history.
Nice. Which
is unbelievably good. And then my Warlord here is a Tech Marine. I mean, we couldn't leave home without a Tech Marine with 3 Dreadnoughts. And he's got an enhancement as well, and his enhancement is a 6-inch aura of once per turn, I can turn the damage of an attack against a vehicle to 0. So between that and his other buffs, he's just gonna keep my Dreadnoughts alive and do amazing things. And that's pretty much the army. Yeah, really excited. We'll see how it plays.
Yeah, very solid. Excited to see them myself as well. But I am playing Tau again. I obviously we've got the index still. So going through the list though itself, a lot of the same pieces I had before. I have a Crisis Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit leading 3 Crisis suits, all kitted out with missile pods, as is my other normal Crisis Commander with 3 Crisis suits. The missile pods I do really like, but actually shout out to Warpfire Minis, our channel partner, who's setting up some more Crisis because I'm going to build 6 more with Cyclic Ion Blasters. This is one matchup where the missile pods are going to hurt me a little bit.
Yep.
I do like them, and I'm excited to have the flexibility of having 6 of each. Thanks for the points drops. But those are obviously 2 big staples. Otherwise, in the list, I have Shadow Sun, and obviously she's on a great reroll ones, or hopefully recycling some command points throughout the game. Lone operative, so that's why she's out in the open. Sitting here, a big unit of 3 broadsides, which hopefully will help carry me to victory today. Obviously, some heavy armor over there on your side, so gotta try and take that down. I do have a couple more kind of peripheral units here as well. I've got 2 units of stealth suits on the table, and then I've got a Piranha for the first time, and my first Devilfish. I've got another one to paint up. In this one though, I do have a bunch, 10 Breachers and a Cadre Fireblade leading them for the extra shot, because that's gonna help me take some objectives, have something to throw on objectives, like the Piranha. And then we've got the, obviously, very reliable Ghost Keel, who is awesome. Gotta get some more of those on the table in the future as well, but...
He doesn't die. I never kill him.
Yeah.
Even when I dominate you, that Ghost Keel's alive at the end with most of his wounds, except for what he did to himself.
Yeah, so he'll hopefully be doing a good job for me today, but that's it. I'm just super excited to get into this. Ryan, interesting note, how do you feel about going first? Do you want first turn or not?
I don't really care.
See, I think I want you to have it.
Because you're well hidden right now.
I am well hidden right now.
But
and yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, if I get it, I get it. If not, I mean, you'll have to move out in the open.
Well, that's a 3.
We tied.
And you won ties, right?
No, you win ties.
Oh, because I dropped first? All right, well, I win ties, which unfortunately means I'm going first. So we'll just jump into Tau turn 1.
As the Tau prepare to unleash their firepower, their secondary objectives are behind enemy lines and area denial. Looking to control the main firing lane, the broadsides shoot at a Redemptor Dreadnought, which uses Armor of Contempt and negates a hit thanks to Adept of the Omnissiah, only suffering 3 damage in the end. Yeah, that's not a great start. Guided by the Piranha, the first unit of Crisis Suits takes out a unit of Fenrisian Wolves. Firing from the cover of a ruin, the other unit of Crisis Suits targets the Outriders and takes down 2. Trying to avoid an early engagement, the Tau score 5 points for area denial, then discard behind enemy lines.
All right, Tau turn 1. I didn't want to go first. Here we are.
You did some damage.
Yeah, the big story is I stepped out with my broadsides, no reason not to. There's at least 1 defensive buff you don't have up, and wanted to get my shots out. Because I moved and I'm heavy, I'm on 3s rerolling 1s, and I rolled 3 2s. So annoying. And then was on 3s rerolling 1s to wound, thanks to my stealth suits who poked out their head to get their marker light out. So yeah, in the end, 3 damage. Not what I was looking for, which included the firing of all their seeker missiles. Now you did negate one of them.
Yes.
That's a thing. You know, maybe in hindsight, I should have waited.
Or you roll the seeker missile profiles first. But,
yeah.
I mean, you rolled really bad on damage rolls too.
Yeah, so it's very disappointing here. Doesn't set me up, but what I'm kind of doing is trying to harass your flanks too, so the dreadnoughts can't be everywhere.
Animal abuse. He killed 5 dogs.
Yeah, could have been 10, but I went for the Outriders instead. Left one alive with 2 wounds, which is kind of annoying, but took a chunk out of them. But that's basically all the firing I got to do. My Ghost Keel almost was in range to finish that one off. Could have been a little tighter there because it's got a nice long range. And yeah, that's basically it. We're just kind of trying to stay relatively safe, poking our heads out a little bit, but hopefully, we don't take too much damage back in return either. But we'll find out as we go into Space Marines Turn 1.
Readying their combat walkers for battle, the Marines draw overwhelming force and deploy teleport homers for their secondary objectives. Looking to respond with aggression, the broadsides are targeted with Oath of Moment, and the Tech Marine uses Blessing of the Omnissiah on the lead Redemptor Dreadnought. As the dreadnoughts prepare to open fire, the broadsides use their stim injectors, and Commander Shadow Sun recycles the command point. The first Redemptor deals 7 damage to the broadsides, though the second dreadnought only deals 1 additional wound. As the third dreadnought fires, it deals 4 damage and finishes off the wounded broadside. Firing from their lofty perch, the Eliminators deal 3 damage and take out a stealth suit. Last to shoot, the Incursor's bolter fire manages to deal 2 damage to the crisis suits. The Fenrisian wolves charge the crisis suits, who fire Overwatch but only take down 1 wolf. The wolves deal no damage in combat while the crisis suits kill 3 of them with their reprisal. Someone should call PETA on these creeps. The Space Marines claim the center of the battlefield, but are unable to score either of their secondary missions and discard them both.
All right, so it was an okay turn. I did draw 2 really not scoreable battle tactics, so they're going away.
Well, you can only get rid of. I guess you can discard both. But.
Yeah, so they're both going away. But I moved all my dreadnoughts forward. They all pounded into the broadsides. I picked up about 1.5 broadsides, which is not too bad.
1 1/5.
1 1/5?
Yeah, 2 wounds. 10 wounds on them, so
1 1/5, which from 3 dreadnoughts isn't the greatest, but you made some clutch saves on the 3 damage shots.
And you did better than I did in shooting.
That's true.
But to be fair, my dice are worth 90 points. I assume yours are more.
200 each.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fine. Picked up a stealth suit over there with the snipers. Not necessarily the best target, but I didn't really have a lot of shots, and I was trying to secure one of my secondaries. Other than that, the big notable play of the turn was the other unit Fenrisian Wolves ran up, made an 11-inch charge. It wasn't actually an 11-inch charge, but I rolled 11 so I could get to them. you overwatched, and then you meleeed, and you killed all but one wolf. So now we have a crisis team in combat with one wolf.
Could have so close to getting it all out, and it's super annoying to be tied up. But thankful I can still shoot out of combat because of their vehicles with a penalty. But I have
and it also
a way
keeps
to
them right
at least
there.
offset it to neutral, right?
Yeah. So it's that wolf is a hero. All 9 of his pack mates are corpses, but he's holding up and doing his work. So overall, it wasn't a bad turn. I am falling a little bit behind on score just because I couldn't score my secondaries.
Yep.
But I think I'm in much better position to score primary on my turn 2 than, well, you're gonna get 10, but.
Yep. You'll be all right.
Yeah,
so.
I think I'm okay. And I get my aggressors next turn, which I think they're going to be really important to board control because I'm controlling the middle really, really strongly right now. But the other 2, I don't have a ton of pressure on. So.
Yeah. Well, we, I guess, are just going to jump into it. And let's see Tau turn 2.
After discarding investigate signals, the Tau secondary missions are secure no man's land and bring it down. They also score 10 primary points at the end of their command phase. To open the shooting, the Devilfish guides the Breachers, who deal 8 damage and kill 4 Incursors. Man, those Breachers really pack a surprising punch. The Redemptor uses Armor of Contempt as the Devilfish fires its Seeker missiles, and the Dreadnought takes no damage. The engaged Crisis suits split their fire 3 ways, but only manage to take down the Outrider. Guided by a unit of stealth suits, the broadsides land 3 hits on the lead Redemptor, and while 1 hit is ignored, they still deal 10 damage to take it down. Firing without any warning for their enemies, the Ghost Keel targets the Eliminators and takes 1 down. Guided by stealth suits, the Crisis suits shoot at and take down 5 Incursors and deal 2 damage to the Librarian, then use Strike and Fade. Shadow Sun shoots her missiles but is unable to deal any damage, though the stealth suits are able to finish off the Librarian. No more advance and shoot for the Dreadnoughts. In combat, the last wolf deals no damage, then gets smashed by the Crisis suits. Scoring 6 points for their secondary missions, the Tau managed to take down the first Dreadnought, while still trying to avoid any close quarters engagements.
Tau turn 2, it's pretty good. Yeah, overall, I think most things went to plan here. I can't really have asked for more, other than leaving 1 Incursor alive, which he could have died because I split fire with my missile pods to try and kill all 3 units, but just that's how it works. Was only hitting on 5s with a lot of the suits because the -1 shooting out of combat. He actually shouldn't have even survived because it was the...
Yeah, I rolled insane on those saves.
Yeah, the Breachers jumped out, obviously get the great damage output and because they're on the objective, rerolling the wounds.
Yep.
Yeah, just tore through a bunch of the Incursors. Didn't take them out, but still they did their job. I shot all the rest of my Seeker missiles, which is my Devilfish and my Piranha. None of them connected with anything. But the 2 big stories were my broadsides opposite of last turn. They rolled hot, got 2 devastating wounds, rolled 6s on both of them. You ignored 1, but the other one still killed you.
Yeah, he got all 4 shots through.
Yeah.
I ignored 1, and then
Yeah.
on the last shot, he took me from 6 wounds to 0 wounds, which means I never got the chance to do my return fire strat.
Yeah.
It was perfect. He did 7 damage. I had 6 wounds left. And I was -1. Like it's.
Yes. Well, that one dealt all 10 damage, right?
Yeah, I guess pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it was, I guess, between the two of them.
So
Yeah,
you don't know who
doesn't
shot
matter.
was which, but it
Yeah.
was. I mean, for
didn't matter. It was the
four
same
shots,
unit.
4 wounds, and
Yeah.
you rolled 4, 6, 6. That's pretty good because I denied one that was a 6. Like it's not
Yeah.
like I wasted it.
Yep. So no, that was good. Yeah, because you saved it on the 4, thinking there might be a bigger one.
And there was, and then
Yeah.
there was another one the same size. Had he rolled a 5, like 1 to 5, I would have. You still would have killed it with something, but I would have had a full shooting phase back into them, and they're still an OS target. So I probably could have picked up a broadside off that.
Yeah, that's true. So that's notable, giving me a couple points, 4 points for bringing it down. But the next big thing then is actually my crisis suits. The one with unit with the Cold Star Commander coming across, setting up just within 12 so I could shoot your unit, which I didn't have to be within 12 for that. And they devastated the unit, lifted the incursors, put a couple wounds on the hero, which my stealth suits thankfully finished off after. What's her name?
Whiffed.
Yeah, failed to. Shadow Sun failed to. The ghost heal, I could have waited to shoot the ghost heal, which I should have done in hindsight. Didn't end up mattering, but he could have shot your hero once the rest of the unit was
I
killed.
think shooting the Eliminators was the better target because if you'd killed them, I lose 5 points.
Yes, that's true too. And it wasn't worthwhile. I did kill one, reduces their output. But actually, going back, the biggest thing with killing that unit was that is what gave you the run and shoot, run and charge
Yes.
with the dreadnoughts.
And if they ever got the shot, they were a +1 to hit as well.
Yeah, so that hugely slows them down, which is great. I also threw the stealth suits in the way so that they're just kind of slowing you down, creating a buffer, keeping me safe. And then I also struck and fade so you couldn't shoot the stealth suits and then charge into my crisis suits. So they're out and safe. Feeling good. I could have got more points for secure no man's land if not for that wolf. So I could have moved on there. I could have also, in hindsight, advanced with my tank and then still done the combat deploy and got it on there. In hindsight, that's the obvious right decision. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking at the time, the Seeker missiles could have been like critical in finishing that guy off or something, right? So the way it worked out, it didn't go in my favor, but I hedged my bets on just wanting a little extra punch into that
Oh
dreadnought.
yeah, and you have so much punch.
Yeah.
Like I have 6 models on the table.
Yes.
I have another 6 coming, but it's like I feel a little outnumbered.
Yeah, well, you are right now, and it was a pretty good turn for Tau, but we're obviously heading into Space Marines turn 2.
Heading into the Marines' second turn, they draw a tempting target and cleanse, and will score 10 points on primary at the end of their command phase. Targeting the broadsides with Oath of Moment, the lead Redemptor uses Ancient Fury while the Tech Priest uses Blessing of the Omnissiah on the other Dreadnought. Looking to put pressure on the Xenos filth, the aggressors join the fight and deploy on the eastern flank. The lead Dreadnought uses Mercy as weakness and deals 11 damage to the broadsides, but suffers 3 mortal wounds from its hazardous weaponry. The second Redemptor shoots and deals 5 damage to the broadsides, but one still lives with 2 wounds remaining. The Tech Marine fires and somehow manages to finish off the last broadside, and also deals 2 wounds to the stealth suits. The lone Incursor burns the northwestern objective, which will score the Marines 5 victory points. Just a heads up that we did get this a bit wrong, as the objectives aren't actually burned till that player's next command phase. Having forgone their shooting in hopes of joining combat and taking the objective, the aggressors use a command re-roll but are not able to make their charge. The Redemptor then attacks the puny stealth suits and easily takes them down. While they take down the biggest threat to their dreadnoughts, the Space Marines aren't able to complete either secondary mission, then discard Cleanse.
So almost a perfect turn, I'd say. I mean, I was in a kind of a scary spot, 6 models left. It was big that my 1 Cursor lived because he was able to walk on the objective and burn it.
And that is 15 points. That's going to cost me, 10, I guess.
10.
For the last 2 turns.
Which is huge. The Dreadnoughts move forward and they almost killed the broadsides, and then the bolter shots from the Tech Marine finished the last broadside, which only was that huge getting rid of the broadsides because they were really the only threat to the Dreadnoughts. You had nothing else in that objective in your home base, so now we're denying you another one. Over here, I was going for the triple win. Aggressors came down. They didn't shoot because they were afraid of accidentally killing the Piranha. 9-inch charge. I rerolled with the CP, failed both, so they didn't get in. Otherwise, you would have had a 0 turn. So overall, very good.
If you had
yeah, if I had made the charge. Other than that, the Eliminators stepped down a level. They're not able to shoot anymore, but I was just worried that you would put shots in and just take away my backfield, and I have nothing that can come back. So Eliminators are now in let's hide and score points mode. I have still scored nothing in terms of my secondaries, which is a problem.
Yep,
hopefully
burning that objective though is 5 points down the road.
That's true. That's 5 points down the road. So I think I'm not in a bad spot now. We'll see how things are at the end of this turn, but I think the Dreadnoughts are going to prove to be pretty hardy now.
They will be.
And yeah, we'll see how Tau can do it, but overall, much better turn than my first turn, I'd say. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the outcome. Now we've got to see how we close it out.
For sure, makes sense. And yeah, with that, we can jump into Tau turn 3.
Unsure of how to deal with the remaining Dreadnoughts, the Tau draw extend battle lines and overwhelming force, then score 5 primary at the end of their command phase. The Piranha's drone harassment tactics disrupt the aggressors, who become battle-shocked and are unable to use stratagems. The Crisis Suits shoot at the Tech Marine, who uses a command reroll and only suffers 2 damage. Then the Crisis Suits use Strike and Fade. How the hell did he survive all that? You probably should have guided them. The Piranha guides the other unit of Crisis Suits, but they are only able to deal 1 damage to the Dreadnought. Please don't say anything about cyclic ion blasters. Jordan's self-conscious about his missile pods. The Stealth Suits guide the Ghost Keel, which takes down 4 aggressors, but suffers 3 mortal wounds from its hazardous weapon. The Stealth Suits fire next and deal 5 more damage to the aggressors, leaving just 1 with 1 wound remaining. The Crisis Suits on the western flank charge into combat and then smash the last Incursor. Resecuring the outer edges of the battlefield, the Tau score 5 points for extend battle lines but discard overwhelming force.
Well, Tau turn 3, we're trying to find a way to store. Obviously, we have the board control right now, but not necessarily like bodies where it counts. So yeah, just trying to set up to try and push different angles, put stuff everywhere for you to worry about it. You're gonna have different challenges. Now, it's, again, slow, tough to spread out at this point. Big, devastating damage output here was actually the Ghost Keel, guided by the Stealth Suits, took out 4 on his own. I rolled 2 6s. The sustained is so good.
Yeah, and notably, they ended up battle shock because of the drones.
Yes, so you couldn't Armor of Contempt.
Yeah, otherwise they probably would have, I mean, I definitely wouldn't have lost 5.
Yeah.
So that pretty much takes them out of the game.
Yeah, because yeah, the Stealth Suits then dealt, did a bunch of damage, but it was the Fusion Blaster. I rolled the 6, sustained. It was only sustained 1, both wounded. Then a 3 and or a 5 and a 2 on the damage. So would have loved to lift them both, but I'm pretty happy, all things considered. But again, I guess I've got a 2 damage onto the one damage onto a Dreadnought, 2 damage onto the Tech Marine, which is absolutely bonkers. Like, just an insane save roll. I didn't bother guiding because I wanted to keep Shadow Sun safe, and I decided to try and guide against the Dreadnought, just assuming I would have killed it, which I think it was 9 times out of 10 I should.
I made 12 of 13 3-up saves. I used the CP reroll to get to the 12, but that's still like, to have an option of that reroll.
Yeah, so in hindsight, again, still learning, getting used to the game, right, with the damage and the different profiles and what's actually gonna put damage through that. Should have just guided and guaranteed that. I'm hoping at best, it's a long shot to try and do any damage there. What I'm actually really missing in this list though is my the other enhancement to give myself the lethal
yeah,
hits.
because once the broadsides went down, you just have no threat to the Dreadnoughts at all. It's like...
Yeah, so that's where we're sitting right now, and we can head into Space Marines turn 3.
With resources dwindling for both forces, the Space Marines draw Defend Stronghold, and will score 10 primary points at the end of their command phase. Targeting the Crisis suits with Oath of Moment, the Rear Redemptor Dreadnought uses Ancient Fury, and the Tech Priest uses Blessing of the Omnissiah on the leading one. The first Dreadnought opens fire and deals 14 damage to the Crisis suits, taking down 2. The second Redemptor shoots at the other Crisis suits, dealing 4 damage and finishing 1 off. Aiming to limit their opponent's ability to score, the Tech Marine burns the center objective. Again, this was misplayed. We really need to work on our reading comprehension. After charging in, the Redemptor Dreadnought attacks the Devilfish, but only manages to deal 6 damage. Distraught at the empty loss of his brothers, the aggressor channels his fury and deals 6 damage to the Piranha, leaving it with just 1 wound remaining. Fighting hard, but not yet scoring any points for their secondary missions, the Space Marines discard a tempting target.
All right, so I think it was a good turn, all things considered. My goal here is just to limit your scoring because I'm just trying to, I don't even know if I'm ahead, so I got to stop you from scoring, but I'm currently at a 0 for secondaries because I've basically only drawn secondaries that are functionally impossible for me to score.
Yeah, with losing so many units.
Yeah, which also didn't help, but it's just been very difficult secondaries, so...
Your Dreadnoughts aren't great at scoring secondaries.
Yeah, and it's not like I drew ones like Area Denial, which I would have scored easily. Yeah. I drew stuff like Cleanse and Tempting Target, which just not easy. So other than kind of the secondary game not going well, overall this turn went pretty well. Because my Tech Marine was alive, he could burn this middle objective because I just don't feel like I can hold it anymore. One Dreadnought went running off to go threaten your backfield objective. He did kind of pop off a little bit, picked up a couple suits in shooting, so he's doing great still. Other Dreadnought, I'm just trying to get in the way of this Devilfish getting to my back objective. I was hoping to pop it in melee, but on my 3s to wound, I rolled 3 2s, so only did 6 damage to it. It's fine. I mean, odds weren't great I'd pop it in one shot, but it still did pick up a suit in shooting, and it did 6 damage to Devilfish, and it's now in combat, so it can't advance, so it'll probably take you 2 turns to get there instead of just the 1. Over on the other side, Aggressor did run through the building, and just what did stellarly, he did
all his hits and wounds through. I made no saves. So.
Yeah, so did 6 damage, but that silly Piranha has 7 wounds, so it was impossible for me to kill him. But it's down to 1, which is annoying, but it is what it is. So overall, my position isn't terrible, but I am worried that you're going to run away with it on secondary points.
Yeah, well, again, it's super close, but I just can't, one thing is I can't deal with the Dreadnoughts, right?
No, but I just think you can maneuver around me and get enough points. It depends what you draw, but if you draw this like action objectives that you can do without me interfering, it'll be really tough.
Yep, but that's basically it for your turn. So we're going into round 4, and we'll jump into Tau Empire turn.
With pressure mounting and another objective raised, the Tau draw no prisoners and cleanse, then score 10 points for the primary objectives. As the Piranha falls back from combat, the Dreadnought fires Overwatch and takes it out. Guided by the stealth suits, the Crisis use point-blank ambush and decisively finish off the Tech Marine this time. The other Crisis suits shoot at the Eliminators, who use Armor of Contempt and only suffer 2 damage. Feeling no remorse, the Ghost Kill finishes off the last aggressor. That's another easy kill for no prisoners. The Crisis suits charge into combat but deal no damage, though they only take 3 wounds in return and tie up the Dreadnought. Trying to slow the marching Dreadnoughts, the Tau score 7 points for their secondary missions, while the Marines score 3 for Defend Stronghold.
Tau turn 4 was pretty solid. Doing whatever I can, just obviously scraping points. Made a couple bigger plays, but some things didn't pan out exactly as I wanted. I got 3 points for cleanse just with my stealth suits there. And then my big plays were, well, killing off the 2 things for points for no prisoners was big. And then just try to push that objective. And I actually got a nice firing angle on that guy with the stealth suit or the crisis suits, but Armor of Contempt and cover and I had no way to like avoid cover here. And stealth, I just only you had 9 saves, only rolled 1-1. So yeah, so he lived, which is big because that's gonna score you a bunch of points. That I wanted to deny. I am denying over here though because I charged in to the Dreadnought, Combat Tau, just to tie him up and delay him getting over here, shooting and charging. Figured like he could probably lift both units in one go between shooting and charging.
Oh, absolutely.
So I might as well keep him tied up back there.
And notably, he had a pretty bad, like he was 2s and 2s in combat, and he only got 3 wounds through, and you made 2 armor saves. So
with because I've got the.
It was a risky play. There was a chance he could pick up both suits.
You would need all 5 out of 5 through. So
it was unlikely. It was likely that he killed 1, and he didn't get 1. So that puts you. It could mean that he gets tied up for the rest of the game there now. We'll see what happens.
Exactly that. So we're gonna try and hold on again. Trying to build the lead with the secondary, trying to close it on your home objective, but just not quite there yet. But that'll see us going into Space Marines turn 4.
Drawing capture enemy outpost but discarding investigate signals for no prisoners, the Space Marines then score 5 primary points at the end of their command phase. After targeting the Crisis suits with Oath of Moment, the engaged Dreadnought opens fire, killing 1 Crisis suit and dealing 4 damage to the commander. The second Redemptor shoots at the other unit of Crisis suits and deals 6 damage to also take 1 down. The Redemptor Dreadnought then charges into combat but only deals 3 damage and fails to finish off the Devilfish. Willing to lay down his life, the Cold Star Commander deals no damage in combat, and the Dreadnought finishes him off. With no support left for their Dreadnoughts, the Space Marines only score 2 points for no prisoners. Things are really starting to look pretty grim.
So not a great turn, but I didn't have a great turn lined up. I did draw no prisoners, so I was hoping to kill 2 things. This dreadnought ran in. He rolled fine. He got 4 wounds through, but then you threw 3 5s.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Should you have shot the devilfish though? She shot at the crisis. I thought, yeah.
But it was everything would have been wounded on 5s and 6s, so it was just. I don't think I would have done much.
Yeah, that's fair. But
he doesn't have any anti-tank, so.
That's true.
Unfortunately, devilfish lived, so it denied me 2 points. No prisoners. The one over there did kill barely. And then we did some shots, killed the suits. So I scored my 2. I have capture enemy outpost, which is potential for 8. Had you not charged me, I would have scored that 8 this turn.
Yeah.
So that charge was insane because it denied
cost
me.
You like, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you did an next turn, it's potentially 5 for another tactic that you could be doing. Or
yeah, exactly. So Marines are in a rough spot here. I think I don't see a path back. 3 models.
Yeah.
But I am beating the crap out of you. You're gonna kill him this turn, and the dreadnoughts are invincible. So.
Well, let's do all we can and jump into Tau turn 5.
With the end of the battle drawing near, the Tau draw a tempting target and engage on all fronts, then score 10 primary at the end of their command phase. The Ghost Keel is guided by the stealth suits and deals 7 damage to the Redemptor. Using the power of the Machine Spirit to return fire, the Dreadnought deals 6 wounds back to the Ghost Keel, but kills itself with its hazardous weapon. Really going out in a blaze of glory, eh? After jumping out of their banged-up devilfish, the Breachers shoot at and take down the last Eliminator. Firmly securing the majority of the battlefield, the Tau score 5 points for each of their secondary missions.
All right, we've got a big Tau turn 5 here to seal the deal. We're wrapping things up. Couple funny moments here actually in this one. We knew in the end, regardless of kind of what happened, that Tau was going to come out ahead with this final turn. So there's no reason for me not to step out. Shadow Sound went for a final last stand just to get in the Dread's way. But the Ghost Keel actually popped off and did 7 damage to it.
Yep.
Even with you reducing damage. And you fired back.
Yep.
Chose to
overcharge plasma.
Yeah, which, Ryan, what'd you roll on that hazardous?
It looked like a 1.
Yeah.
So he did lots of damage.
He did. You did.
I almost killed a Ghost Keel.
You did 12 damage, but I ignored 2 of the instances of damage. So it was 6
and he was already hurt from his hazardous.
And I had to roll hazardous too. And I rolled it. It was on a 1, then fell off his base to a 3. So got a little lucky there.
Yeah.
Because he could have killed himself as well. Wouldn't have mattered for points or anything. And I was spread out enough perfectly to be able to easily get engaged on all fronts. And my other tactic, you had to choose an objective in no man's land, and I had to control it, which I did. Ryan, you drew your secondaries, and neither of them were achievable. So that's going to be it for points here.
It is worth noting, though, had that Dreadnought not died, I would have scored 18 points with it on my last turn.
Yes. Yeah, so, and that would have brought you
not
55? 55?
Yeah, I wouldn't have won, but it would have been a lot closer.
Yes, so
that hazardous roll was rough.
yeah. And, again, we're just, having a laugh at the end because it didn't matter, right? There was no reason for you to kill the Ghost Keel. You didn't need to. So overcharging was literally just for fun at the end. But
actually, it would have been over. It wouldn't have been 18. It would have been 13.
Roger that.
So
Roger that.
It would have been 13 damage. But that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of points.
Yeah. But yeah, things to note here. I had a tough time dealing with those things. The dreadnoughts. Yeah. Broadsides are solid. They're down to 90 points, which feels a little better. Overall, obviously, the list, Tau went down a bunch. So it was good to get a couple pieces of, different things in here to help capture objectives, like the Devilfish and Breachers were like possibly MVP. Like they've been doing a great job. Everything else kind of did well. Ghostguild did well. Shadow Sun didn't.
Yeah.
Her aura, which got me 2 CP I think throughout the game. Her aura on the 5-up, and then the reroll ones obviously helped. Crisis did okay here and there.
I mean, they did awesome. Yeah. Like if you think about it, my starting army had plenty of scoring units. You killed them all by the end of turn 2.
And that's also one reason why I like the missile pods, is because I can do that chip damage from relative safety. Like think about I got unlucky with not killing those guys, those 2 eliminators, but I could have killed them turn 4 and denied potentially more points.
Exactly, like
with the 30-inch range shooting. Like everyone's like cyclic ion blasters. I love them. They're great. Different tools for different jobs. I like my 2,000 point list is gonna be 6 of each.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I thought I was fine. I was like, all right, the Dreadnought's gonna go into the middle. They're just gonna be picking up stuff. You won't be able to deal with them, and I'll just score. And no scoring happened. Well, everything I had that got near an objective died.
And I think this is, again, learning more. It's like I early kind of identified I can't really deal with them, so I have to throw stuff in their way and spread out and take everything else out.
Yeah.
And it worked out. You actually still luckily was able to burn
barely.
that.
It could have been worse.
Yeah, because I potentially hold on to that for another 15 points throughout the game.
Well, exactly.
Or 10 at least.
But it's just like no ability to score secondaries when everything dies.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's the change with Tau. And I've seen lots of people worry that Tau are still not good enough, and I'm like, their shooting phase is so terrifying now. They just pick up everything, and you can't hide from something that can fly with auto run 6 and still shoot.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
yeah, with the Cold Star Commander,
yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah, the Strike and Fade kept me, relative safety of like that unit not dying. Also another thing, like point of different weapon profiles, cyclic ion blasters are awesome. If I had at any point overcharged them to try and get damage on the Dread, I would not have been able to make that play to charge in and tie you up.
Well, like, just look at that.
Because I just wouldn't have had the wounds left.
It's not a weapon thing, but like when you moved it in 12, picked up my whole unit with a librarian, and then faded away. You're the only army in the game that can do that. Yeah. Everybody else trades their unit when they do that.
Yeah, so that was very big because it slowed you down for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and took away a scoring unit.
Yeah.
And I mean, the librarian didn't smite once the whole game. Not that smite's that powerful, but it's still firepower. Yeah. So it's really solid. And the Marine book is not bad. Like I think, yes, they lost today, but this is a very solid book. And that's a very powerful combo with those Redemptors. But they just didn't do it. And also their profiles aren't ideal for shooting Tau. That also doesn't help.
Yes.
The plasma cannons are great. The rest of the profiles are just not meant for shooting Tau. So it's fine. Like I don't have any problems with it, but I think into other armies they would have butchered a lot more.
Yeah. It was interesting. Like it makes you consolidate a lot of your power, though, right? You had 1,000 points in a center objective, 600, 800 at least.
No, it was about 1,000 if you considered the characters.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. But also I had like massive unit aggressors that did nothing. Yes,
they make their charge. That's a big difference as well. I got a little lucky with taking down. No, I had a bad turn 1 in shooting, but if I don't finish off that first Dreadnought and you have him for another turn,
or even if you don't finish him off with that particular shot and he has a couple wounds left and I spend the CP, get a full fire, and then you kill him with something else, huge change.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things that could go other ways. Whatever. That's that part I'm not too worried about. It's just. That's a scary shooting phase.
Yep. But still first taste of Marines.
Yep.
Liking them overall.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, all the detachments I think are good. I think there's a lot of units in that book that are duds, but there's a lot of units that aren't duds. So you just gotta pick the ones that aren't duds. And I think everything I picked here today is not a dud. Not all of it's great into Tau, but I mean, aggressors, yes, we saw them die, but they are fantastic into a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And the Dreadnoughts obviously just -1 damage with the amount of output they have, fantastic. And the advance and charge, or advance and shoot, advance and charge aura from the enhancement is so freaking
Yes.
good. Like that's just phenomenal.
And you think, again, if I wasn't able to kill that unit that had the hero that gave that buff out, you're on my objective turn 2, turn 3, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what, I guess you have so many points invested into it, but that they're going to bully right to your opponent's like home
and
objective.
that was kind of my plan, was like go in, take the center, and then once your broadsides are dead, I was just going to spread, because they were the one thing that I needed them to clump together to not die. And I mean, that part worked, but I lost a dreadnought in the process and a whole squad of infiltrators and a librarian. And it's just like the spread part never happened. And then all the stuff everywhere else just died. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, and then too many, I mean, you were still dealing damage, killing stuff, but there was just too many units across the board for you to deal with everything.
You just
I just
bring
stayed
so much
away
stuff.
and
And it's not like there was ever a point where I felt like, oh, I can't shoot. Like there's always stuff to shoot at because you just have so much stuff, but it's just, I don't have the firepower to bring down this much stuff in a single game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even looking at this right now, this dreadnought is functionally invincible now at the end of this game.
Well,
so if this game went to like...
Ghost Shield can stay at 36 and just chip him off.
If it went to like 10 turns, he would just slowly kill it all. But he still wouldn't win because he can't score.
But great game here. A lot of fun. Nice to be on the full table for Tau. Obviously, that helps them. But it was nice to get up a few more points, obviously up to 1,500. Excited to get to 2,000. Awesome to see the Space Marines, so that was a lot of fun. But guys, again, hope you enjoyed this 40K game. Thank you so much for the support so far with our first one. If you do enjoy 40K content and want to see more, our goal is to ramp up and get to the point of doing weekly and then twice weekly battle reports. But a big part of being able to do that is going to be supporting us through the membership. So if you want to see that content, you want to see more 40K action on this channel, joining the membership is the best way to do it. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon in another battle report.